Hundreds of people have attended a vigil in Texas after 19 children and 2 teachers were killed in a mass shooting at a primary school in the town of Uvalde. The attack has reignited the debate over gun laws in the United States. From Texas, here's our correspondent Nomia Iqbal.
They came for the thoughts and prayers. Families held each other tightly to try and make sense of the unimaginable. They sang and prayed. The mood was somber and their grief palpable.
We're just grieving over this horrific tragedy. So coming together to show the support for each other, for the families, you know.
This couple told us their 8-year-old grandson made it out of the school alive.
I went and checked on my grandson. As soon as he saw me, he hugged me. He was so scared. And I cried with him also. So I told him, it'll be okay. Let me check on your classmates and your teacher. I know that everybody's scared, but you all will be fine.
This is a community that's dealing with profound grief. And people came here inside the arena in their hundreds. Usually rodeo shows happen here. But tonight there was a prayer vigil. And people say this is their way of healing. The murder of 19 children and their 2 teachers has left this country reeling. Xavier Lopez was in his 4th year at primary school, as was El Garcia, and Amory Jo, just 10. Their teacher, Ava Morales, died jumping in front of her students. They had all been barricaded in one classroom. The man who cruelly took their lives was this local teenager, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos. He sent out messages on social media saying he was going to attack an elementary school. He was killed by police. It's the worst school shooting in a decade. The death of small children has reignited the polarising issue of gun control in America. And whilst politicians unite in grief, they quickly divide on the politics.
When in God's name will we do what needs to be done to, if not completely stop, fundamentally change the amount of the carnage that goes on in this country? To state the obvious, and Corey and a lot of other people here, I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired of what's going on and continues to go on.
At a press conference, Texas governor, who is a Republican, has loosened gun laws here. He was ambushed by his Democratic opponent, who accused him of doing nothing about gun violence.
It's right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
Republicans here say this isn't about guns. They say strict gun control infringes on American people's constitutional right to bear arms. It divides America deeply. And even after a horrific shooting, that divide deepens.
Not too much into politics, but I mean, something needs to change, you know, whether it's something needs to change because it's ridiculous. You know, it's very ridiculous that we're putting children's lives in danger and, you know, it's just not right.
This is not about politics, you know. We're Americans. The Second Amendment is a part of our liberties to even be here in America. This is not about politics. The gun control is not about politics. Guns don't kill people, people kill people.
President Biden says he will visit the city in the coming days. Will this be a turning point in America when it comes to tougher gun laws? The grim expectation is either little or nothing will change. Nomia Iqbal, BBC News, Uvalde in Texas.
We're hearing more from the families of the victims. Here's the father of Jacqueline Cazares, who was 10, speaking about his daughter's love of life.
She's full of love and full of life, and she would do anything for anybody. And to me, she's a firecracker, man. It comforts me a little bit to think that she'd be the one to help her friends in need there and then. Well, we were at the hospital about 2.5 hours. I mean, it's sad, and it's sad because there's other people that took longer. Luckily, my niece was able to be there and see her come out of the hospital. Out of the ambulance, and of course she notified us, and we were at the school still. And as a father, I just booked it. I wanted to be there as soon as I could. She was there. They couldn't confirm that it was her, but my niece saw firsthand when they pulled her out. She touched a lot of people. Recently, she had a first baptism, first communion, and through COVID, through the death of a family member, about a year ago. She brought us together, and it was something beautiful. And now she brought us again together, but in tragedy.
That's Jacinto Cazares. Well, more details are coming to light about the shooting. For example, the gunman posted about his intentions on Facebook. Here's our North America correspondent, David Willis.
We now know this is the deadliest school shooting in this country in nearly a decade, since the Sandy Hook massacre in Newtown, Connecticut. 19 killed and 2 adults as well as those school children. And as you say, we know as well that the gunman, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos, posted a number of messages online before he embarked on this murderous rampage. He said that he was going to kill his grandmother. He reported then that he'd done so, and he said then that he was going to embark on a rampage at an elementary school, which of course he did after taking a car, crashing it, and then entering the school through a back door. Now, the officials are saying that they're trying to pinpoint what actually happened during the early part of that incident, when he was confronted by an official at the school gate. They're trying to find out why there wasn't some sort of standoff at that point. But it appears that Salvador Ramos then ran into the building and started shooting with his rifle. President Biden, of course, has been vociferous once again in calling for enhanced gun controls in this country. It is not a matter on which rival Republicans agree. Republicans believe that the answer to shooting incidents of this kind lies in more police, tougher mental health checks, and so on. But both sides are accusing the other of politicizing this debate, and it's starting to look, once again, as though very little will be achieved in terms of legislation.